Hey guys, welcome to the music podcast. It's very exciting. This is the first time we've filmed the podcast. Before we start, we want to thank our sponsor, Audira Headphones. Great headphones, obviously, and this is a scientific fact. If you listen to Pnau through Audira headphones, it is 1,000 times better. I'm not making it up. That's just science. Without further ado, good timing, Nick Littlemore, Kira Devine from Pnau. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
This is history, guys. I mean, usually we just have microphones or in a little den, but no, this is kind of daunting, right?
Yeah, it's official.
Yeah, I love the kind of Russian constructivist vibes, like Malevich, you know, keep them cold, keep them keen.
Guys, thank you so much for coming by. Again, this is kind of our pre-Splendor special. You guys are one of the headlining acts. You're playing on Sunday, right?
Yes.
Now, I've never been to Splendor before.
This is my first time as well.
Right, okay, so Nick, how many times have Pnau played at Splendor?
Well, in the early days of Pnau, when Pnau was just an infant, we had an agent here in Sydney called Jester Crew who left us, went up to Byron and started Splendor. It's her festival with Paul Padico. And so we've played it, I believe, probably more times than anyone else.
Wow.
It's a wonderful festival and we've seen it grow, much like Pnau. Unlike Pnau, they don't have Kira Devine, but this year they do! All the way from the USA, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Kira Devine, the star of your life.
Can we just get audience clapping? Thank you, Lawrence. I mean, this is I was going to say, because you did an interview a little while ago. I think you were doing answer these questions with one word. And I don't know if you were bored or tired, but you answered every question with Kira Devine. Like, who's your favourite artist? Kira Devine. So, I mean, is Kira now officially a part of Pnau?
Well, what they say is what happens is we have a time before and a time after, and we call it the Kira effect.
Right, nice.
And Kira is what we would say an often guest. She is what we would say is a constellation in which we all are kind of constantly orbiting around. We're making an album with Kira.
Yeah.
She's featuring heavily on the next album. So that'll be Chunga 2.
Is that exclusive?
Well, it's not going to be called Chunga 2.
This is really exciting because, I mean, similar, like, it's funny that you say, you know, the Kira effect. You know, Fleetwood Mac have just got Neil Finn, and they're calling Fleetwood Mac a new band now. Is this like the new Pnau?
You know, it's funny you talk about Fleetwood Mac because we had the opportunity to work with Lindsey Buckingham, of course. We wrote about 5 songs with Lindsey, who was in Fleetwood Mac for many years. And actually, oddly, Lindsey Buckingham actually led us to meet Kira Devine. And I know you're all thinking, how is that possible? So we wrote a song, and I can't remember the name of it. It was for my other band, Empire of the Sun.
Yeah.
And in that song, we wanted to have a 3-part harmony, a gospel choir.
Yeah.
We called Todd Simon, a trumpeter from Los Angeles, who I met via Tim LaFave, who's a bass player from Boston, who played on the last Bowie album, who I met through a guy called Henry Hay, who is a piano player from New York, who I met through a guy called Phil Ramone, who was an old school producer who actually recorded The Girl from Ipanema, as well as Happy Birthday, Mr. President, as sung by Marilyn Monroe.
That's more people than I've met in my life that you just sounded out. So is that legit? You met Kira through?
That's the path.
Wow.
That's the path. And we did that session with 3 girls, and we had to bring in each singer again to find that mystery magical voice.
And you found it.
And we found it. And we've never looked back since.
Oh, thank you.
Well, only if Kira was behind us, then we'd all just look at her and bask in the everlight that is basking, all basking aside.
I always get nervous when
So
he
much
does this.
basking.
I'm still not used to it.
Well, I mean, Kira, you know, there is a lot of fanboying here for you. When that conversation began, hey, would you like to perform with Pnau? What was your initial reaction?
I was like, oh yeah, because at that point we had been working on music for a while at that point, and I will say that it has been the most amazing experience working with them because it's a different experience when you step in the studio. It's an experience, literally working with Nick and Peter, and we would just go literally on these trips. Like, he's literally taking me on trips as we're recording, and the process of it all, I'm like, I love this. This is different. You know, they're bringing out something in me that I didn't even really know was inside of me, you know, and it's challenging me to be different and open myself to things that I didn't think I would even do, you know? So that was exciting enough for me. And then to add the element of, wow, you guys want to bring me with you on the road? And what? Okay, you know? So yeah, it's been quite a trip. literally and figuratively. And yeah, I love working with them. I really do.
And as far as your input into the new album, how heavily involved are you in this recording process?
Well, I believe the more we worked together, the more they trusted my talent and my input. So they even encouraged me to start writing, you know, and I'm like, you want me to write? Okay. You know, so they challenged me and we actually started writing in Byron Bay together last year. So coming back to Byron Bay, doing Splendor, it's like a full circle right now. And to know that the work that we started in Byron Bay is now coming into fruition. It's kind of like a full circle happening right now. Yeah.
What is the new album sounding like then? Again, with your influence into it.
Well, I mean, I feel like it has my influence, but definitely Nick and Peter. And it started out as another project, and it's kind of turned into a new project, a Pnau project. But it started out as Two Leaves, actually, right?
Right. So we started making an album with another singer from England, and through that process, it became apparent that basically, much like the universe, Kira Divine's talent is endless. And yes, people have theories that the universe wraps around itself. Well, Kira's talent doesn't.
Wow.
It just keeps going.
That's like a Chuck Norris reference.
Well, we love Chuck, but we don't like violence. In fact, we say,
No more violence!
and that's true, we do say that.
We do.
We
Often.
do say that. We do every show, we will say that.
Yeah.
Quite a few times.
Yeah. Okay, well, Nick, because you were just clearly leading this interview, Kira and I, we're first-time Splendor goers.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, what do we need to do to be prepared?
Well, firstly, I'd ask, are you a bender?
Yes.
You got to be a bender to be a Splendor bender. And it's a wonderful thing, and it gets cold at night.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I can say this only from Anna, our friend over there, just off camera, because I'm usually, by the time that night comes around, I feel like I am the sun.
Ooh.
And I can't really feel anything.
Well put.
So I would say that is one way of doing it. Mulled wine is a good way to start, and then just go deeper and deeper into the trip and see where it might take you. Try and see as many bands as possible.
Yep.
They have delicious donuts.
Good.
I'm a fan of donuts.
Yep.
And in Australia, we have, you know, those fresh ones with the cinnamon and sugar.
Yeah.
Yum.
So donuts, stay warm.
Stay
Layer
warm,
up.
donuts, see as many bands as you can.
Be one with the sun.
Be
One
one
with
with
the
the
sun.
Yeah.
sun. Yeah, like really, by the evening, you should be kind of glowing.
Good.
You know, so if you do happen to see Kira Divine, just huddle up next to her because you will bask in her glow, her warmth. Solid gold.
I trust you'll actually be glowing as well, because I imagine you're going to be wearing the full get-up.
Maybe.
How long does that take to prepare for?
Well, when it comes to the actual videos that we've done, hours. Shout outs to Ashley Joy Beck, amazing makeup artist, amazing individual. She's so amazing. I mean that for lack of a better word. And she's very meticulous with her artistic creativity. So she does a really good job of just really preparing and going in depth with her renderings of, you know, whatever Nick or Peter want to see. So it takes about 10 hours, 8 hours
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's about 10 hours. And I should a shout out to my brother Sam, who is also in the band now. And he was the one that first introduced me to this new sort of, I would call it a psychedelic renaissance, if you will. And Kira's initial look, which we used for Chameleon, was based on a visionary artist from Peru. And it was one of the sculptures that he made, and we tried to recreate it in real life. And we did contact him, and we offered him some money, and we did all that, and we did kind of the right things. You want to stay psychedelically aligned.
Amen.
Well,
So,
because
you know, it's all about set and setting. You can look up the Nexus, the DMT Nexus, or the shroomery.org. You can find out more information about all the psychedelic sciences. It's a very important thing. It's a very sacred thing. Of course, the wattle flower, Australia's national flower, is also that contains the most amount of DMT of any plant in the world. It's very important stuff, not to be disrespected, and don't drink coffee on that day.
sure, that's very, very deep. Thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you actually, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a lot of creative input in the videos. And
Yeah, I
they're
directed the
incredibly
Chameleon video.
Yeah, I
which
mean,
was
these are
fun.
incredible looking stuff. When you bring this to the team, are they like, come on, Nick, that's a lot of colours, mate? Or are they all for it?
Well, you know, I think they allowed the punt on the first video. They haven't allowed me to do anything since. Which might say something, but that's all right. You know, like life is a challenge, and I'm up for it.
Yeah.
So it's been cool, and I understand that there are professionals. Something my late grandfather said to me when I was very young. The first and only real time that I sat with him was about 10 years of age, and we were eating sayos with tomatoes on toast, or tomatoes on the sayos with a bit of black pepper. And he said to me, Nicholas, surround yourself with people who can do everything that you can't, and you will never fail.
Wow.
And I've tried to do that ever since, so I'm happy to pass the baton to a better director, and hence why I've subbed my voice out for the greatest to ever do it.
You stand by that, don't you?
The star of your life, Miss Kira Devine.
Again, audience clapping. Thank you. Can we get that in? Thank you.
I don't think I'll ever get used to that intro. Every time he does it, I laugh.
Is
So
this
cool.
something that happens in every interview? Just a quick rap, and you just have to sit there and go, okay, cool.
This is how he introduces me, and I
No,
love it. Thank you
interviews
for the
are like
gentle reminder.
snowflakes. They're
He's
always
so sweet.
different.
Yeah. Before we started the show, you guys told me you kicked off the tour in Perth on Saturday night, right? I'm going to let you tell the story. What happened, Kira?
Well, we got to Perth on Wednesday, and we spent, besides us, there's a whole lighting team that has been working on a whole lighting design for the show for many hours, actually. And come to Saturday, we come on stage, we start our first song, and midway through the first song, it happened, right?
Midway through the first song, that fatal moment which changed our lives irrevocably. A beer from atop the balcony. A full beer.
Could you see it in slow mo?
This is the beer falling down on the lighting desk, and somehow got into every crevice. Every moment of that was destroyed. Like that.
Yeah.
And
Good
the
demonstration.
lights stayed on.
The entire
All
show.
the lights stayed on.
So the house
The entire-
lights.
everything.
This feels like a school disco almost.
Well, you know, the thing about marijuana is it's hiding. You know, it's like a safety, it's a warm blanket.
Sure.
You know? And with dance music and the rave. We'll repeat
that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, repeat that more. Is you go into these dark warehouses and the lights are never on all the time. They're moving around. There's lots of moments of darkness. There's lots of moments to hide in corners and do all kinds of things.
Sure.
You know? Speakable and unspeakable acts. Anyway, when you play a rave style show like we were doing the other night, we had all the lights perfectly programmed, and our lighting guy is amazing. He's amazing. And we worked with lots of special people along the years. And a shout out to Gordo, who is also a great lighting designer.
Many hands.
But we've been working with a new lighting designer, and we've really programmed the set to the nth degree. Like every little detail, it's all just been manifested. And, you know, much like a psychedelic experience, everything is thought of.
Sure.
You know, so much so that we have what's called ego death. So it's where you're actually not conscious of yourself, you are actually spread across the universe. And that's the kind of experience that you'll have from the lighting, but not on this night in fateful Fremantle. Just a mere 25 minutes from Perth, down the road, one might say. And geez, it really... Well, it was good.
It was good. The audience was
good.
amazing.
The audience were lovely.
Very
We saw
receptive.
all of them.
And
Yeah.
responsive, yeah.
I was gonna say, how do you guys kind of like pick up and get on with it? Like, were you a little frustrated, or you just thought, fuck it, it's happened, let's just do the show as per
Well,
usual?
if the sound was affected, we'd probably be more.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when you're in the groove,
Yeah.
once you plug in, it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
You're on the ride.
Yeah.
So you ride it.
And the tour's continuing in Newcastle this week, and Nick, you famously said that Newcastle is your favourite city to play.
Well, it's a spiritual home. We've always called it Newey, you know,
Newey.
after Newcastle. And the beer, which I wouldn't drink now, but, you know, there was a time. There's a time for beer.
It's time for all, yeah.
But I find the beer in Japan better. And I've been spending some time in Japan recently. And one word, delicious. Delicious.
Yeah?
The other thing I'd like to talk on with Hard Talk today is recently I was in Italy
Mm-hmm.
and I had 34 pastas in 19 days. 34
Pastas,
pastas.
sorry. I said pastas. I was like,
Pasta.
Wow.
Pasta. And most, if not all, were amatriciana.
Is that terrible?
It's unbelievable.
Oh.
My pronunciation was terrible. But, if you haven't been to Italy or Japan, get there.
Yeah.
And I say they're there because they're different places.
Yes. Good.
Quite different,
Yeah.
but maybe
Maybe not.
aligned.
Yeah.
In the sense that they both have
Try and
care.
bring Kira back in this if you can.
Yeah, okay, cool. Coming back around to Kira.
Hi.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here tonight on Talk About You is Kira. And you, Kira,
Hi.
are all about
Life, love, and happiness.
Oh,
wonderful.
that's quite nice, actually.
Yeah.
Now, as much as I love Kira, there's one thing that I am a little sad about is that Kira doesn't big note herself enough. Now, Kira goes to the islands every year, and people saying, "What are the islands? What are the islands? What are the islands?"
The islands in the Caribbean, yes. There are many islands, namely Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, and Martin, Guyana. It's not an island. It's a country in South America, but it's considered a part of the Caribbean. Do some research, Google it.
I've learned so much. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So my parents are actually from there. I started a nonprofit organization for the
Do you
youth.
hear that, ladies and gentlemen? For the youth. So she goes there and she teaches
Yes.
young kids how to dance,
Yes.
builds their confidence, and sends
Yes.
them out into the world.
That's right.
Really?
Now, that's not
Full
something we hear a
circle.
lot
Yeah,
about
how
these
often do you do
days.
that?
Once a year, I
Yeah.
do it, and also this year, for the first time, I usually go to St. Martin and do it, but
Yeah.
this is the week that it normally happens. So, hey everybody! Shout out to everyone in Art Saves Lives. We are resilient people. That's right. They experienced a major hurricane in 2017.
Right.
So they're rebuilding the island, and I'm there in spirit. But yeah, I just honestly, it's fulfilling to me. As much as I'm pouring into the children, I get a lot from them. They are amazing. The youth are amazing. They have these wonderful lights. They're not tainted yet by society, and I just love working with them.
Are they familiar with your music? Do they know that you're with Pnau right now?
Yeah, so because a lot of them follow me on social media, so they're bubbling and they're excited. They're so happy that I'm here. For them, it's like they feel like they're here with me.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing, and especially in Guyana, they're now getting to learn about what I'm doing with Pnau, and it's really exciting because I don't think anyone from Guyana has ever done anything like this.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite exciting to share this part of my life with them.
Are you hoping to get back this year because you missed this week?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get back. I'm hoping to take Pnau with me,
Yeah.
Peter and Nick, maybe
Yeah,
Sam.
we want to go there.
We want to
and
go.
make
Yeah.
a record there.
Yeah. So,
Are you going to record some of the new album? Sorry.
well, the new album.
Certainly an album.
Yes.
An album.
There are many albums.
Many.
Yeah.
How
if
many are
you-
we working on right now?
Well,
I'm working on a lot.
Yeah.
yeah, he's always
I'm a busy
working on
guy.
a lot. I'm currently working on a solo project, which
Yeah.
is taking a lot more time than I anticipated. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with the process because in the process I'm learning more about myself and
Yeah.
what I want to sound like and what I want to say to people, what I want to say to the world. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's incredible.
Yeah, and I'm actually learning a lot working with Pnau. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I did want to ask as well, Nick, because I know you mentioned that you're working on a bunch of stuff. I don't know if you remember last year's ARIA Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the press conference afterwards.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you're working with Elton John again, but you couldn't say what.
Right. So that was a film that came out a few months ago. It was called Sherlock Gnomes.
Oh, right, yeah, the kids one.
Right.
Clever play on words.
Yeah, very clever. Like, what's it going to be? They're going to be gnomes like Sherlock?
Basically, that's what it was.
But as a quick segue, I have a project called the Two Leaves Project, which is sort of a benevolent music project. I'm not trying to convey that I am in any way saintly like Mother Teresa or Kira Divine, but I have an album coming out in the next few weeks with a guitarist here from Sydney called Michael Sheridan,
Yep.
who is an incredible sound explorer, who started a band in the late 80s with a singer by the name of Michael Hutchins, who you might know from a band called
In Excess.
In Excess.
Small indie band. I believe.
Yeah, a little indie band. And they had a band called Max Q. They made an album. Well, Michael is one of the unsung heroes of music in Australia, and he makes his own instruments and does incredible work. So we have an album coming out under my Two Leaves project banner, of which I've made
Great.
an album with Celia Pavey,
Yeah.
who you would know as Vera Blue, as well as Henry Hay, who's the piano player who I met through Phil Ramone, who worked on Bowie's musical called Lazarus. And then there was another one as well with a choir master here from Sydney called Brooke Shelley,
Wow.
which is a kind of a sort of sacred music style record. And all these records are not sort of heading towards a commercial end. They're much more, that's why I say benevolent, because it's more of a kind of mindful listening experience. And at this time now, on
What are you doing with your
quiet
hands?
times,
What's happening with your hands?
we're gonna say an om, okay? So on the count of three, we're all gonna do an om. And a 1, 2, 3.
That was perfect, guys. Oh, we're still going. Okay.
And if you just joined us on Mindfulness 101,
I think
we're
you've
chanting om.
you've introed like 4 different shows.
Well,
There was
you
Talk
know,
About You. What was that one you just said?
Mindfulness 101. Who doesn't like a spin-off?
We've had like 7 this show, so that's good.
right.
So how many albums then in 2018 do you think will be out?
I've made one with the Kite String Tangle.
Yep.
Danny Harley, and a singer called Marquise Tolliver, who's a violinist from Florida.
Yep.
So that one hopefully is going to be coming out, as we would say in the States, in the fall.
In the fall.
Or what we would call the spring. So that one hopefully will be coming out after the Michael Sheridan one, and then I'd like to bring out another one just before Christmas. I'm not sure which one it would be, but I've been working with a young piano player from Birmingham in England, and his name's Ruben, and Ruben is one of the greatest musicians and musical entities that I've come across in my, well, quite long life. I turned 40 recently. And
Congratulations.
I can no longer be what is considered a youthful person, but that's okay, that's okay.
Well, that's a perfect segue for me then, because I did want to ask you about, I mean, I think you're one of the pioneers of dance in Australia. I'm going to toot your horn now. You've obviously, Pnau were kind of massive in Sydney, and you're obviously gone nationwide, international. What is your take on Sydney's dancing now? I mean, like, obviously you guys released a great album last year. The Presets are back with a great new album. Luke Steele is now with Daniel Johns in Dreams. What is your take on the state as far as artists and how they can perform?
Well, I think, it's too many to mention, but the thing is, when we started a long time ago, the internet was in some ways, in its infancy. And we didn't have the connection that we understand. They called it the World Wide Web back then, but it wasn't so worldwide. Now, you can write a song and you can be living in the boondocks, which is a real place. And you can connect to someone in Germany, someone in Paris, someone in Tokyo. Anywhere, like you have the opportunity. So much like the sacrament, right, mushrooms.
Sure.
The internet has made music democratic. It means really that it doesn't matter where you're from if people listen to your stuff, and they will find it now. And I do believe that good things rise to the top, which thank God for humanity. One of the good things is that good things do rise to the top. And now we're sharing information about plastics. Why are we still making plastic? Why are we doing that?
I didn't.
I mean, we know we don't need plastic, right?
We don't. Straws.
Plastic bags, they're gone. That's good. That's good news, right?
I know, but it comes back to North Korea.
Every time.
Every time.
Every goddamn time.
Kim, cut it out.
Well, could Pnau, as far as, especially Sydney's live music
Pnau for
scene,
world peace.
Bang, thank you. Sydney's live music scene, could Pnau survive if you guys started today? With the lockout laws, with the way dance music is, I guess, received.
I wonder, because when we started, dance music was fairly underground. And I don't know whether we would necessarily be making dance music because we always wanted to be an outsider art. I think for a long time, and this is honest, and a lot of my favorite authors were gay, and I thought I really need to be gay to be a better artist, and it just didn't happen for me. But, I've always understood that the outsider has understood a way of seeing a society on a deeper level. And we can take it back to your friend in Canada at this point. because Canada is a smaller country next to a very large country with a lot of injustices. Now, they both have injustices. I'm not saying Canada is free and clear of that, but you can see how they've learned from their big brother neighbour. And I wonder whether being the outsider would mean that I would go into dance music now, or in fact we would try and make some other style of music.
Do you know what that style would be?
Well, it makes me think of an Australian composer who lives in New York now, a woman called Meredith Monk, who's now in her older years. I don't want to say exactly how old, but she makes music predominantly with her mouth, and not just singing, but just general sounds. You know, of course, as humans, and I say humans, but we're really mushrooms, but humans, we've evolved through, and really entirely through small mouth noises. Now, women, of course, were in the village and they were making the food. The men were out, you know, just killing stuff, just generally smashing stuff on rocks. The women were the arbiters of language. So what we've come to know as evolution is really, well, it's Kira Divine, isn't it? It's come back to Kira Divine.
The future's female.
Yeah.
I don't know what you say, but we are kind of, I wish I had the right word for that.
You've been so well spoken this entire interview, and now you've botched it.
That's always the way with me.
Okay, well, we've got a Pnau album coming. Do you know exactly when we want to release this one?
That's never up to us.
Yeah? Okay, and what about Empire of the Sun? We mentioned that briefly. Two Vines was obviously a really well-received album.
Yeah. Was that the last one?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was.
You're making me second-guess myself now. No, it was. It definitely was.
Oh, yeah, 'cause it
Put out some
was.
rhymes.
It was.
Don't make me second-guess
No,
myself.
No, sorry. Empire of the Sun with their hits Walking on a Dream and We Are the People. And there's just been a great cover of We Are the People by a young singer. And when I say young, I can say that because I am, of course, old.
Well, guys, I think we'll have to leave
That's
it there.
it? We have to go?
Oh, really?
We
got
can
more?
keep going.
No.
We can go an hour. So you're like, yeah, we can.
We can keep talking.
No,
I think Anne's going to yell at us if we keep
We'll
going.
go. We know when we're not wanted.
Well, this is the funniest part. So again, we're going to be at Splendor.
Yes.
We're going to talk to you guys again when we're there.
Yes.
So it's going to be a bit uncomfortable because I don't know if we'll have a lot to say, but that's okay.
Well, Peter will be there.
Oh, Peter will be there. We'll be drinking
Sam will be
tequila. We'll be
there.
out of this concrete cave. And yeah, we'll be in the hinterlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you for
by.
having us.
Good luck with Splendor. Good luck with the rest of the tour. I hope the lights stay on or off, whichever one makes more sense.
Both.
Well, on and
Both?
off.
Yes,
on and
both.
off. Yeah.
Flashing
Just change it
around.
up. Yeah,
Yep.
good. Guys, thank you so much. Thanks again to Ordira Headphones, and we'll see you soon. We'll see you guys Sunday at Splendor.
Yes,
Cool.
thank you.
Cheers.
See you.